Good afternoon, my name is Ralf Friedrichs and welcome to Take Your Life Back. I just want to remind everyone that this Sunday I will be on Neighborhood Road in Mastic Beach, New York, again, like the previous two Sundays, going out to get those live interviews from real people with real stories. That's this Sunday between 11 and 12 o'clock on Neighborhood Road in Mastic Beach. If you can join me, I look forward to seeing everyone there. However, if you cannot make it due to you don't live in the neighborhood or you're somewhere out of state, go into your own community and talk to the people. Talk to the people that you think need help with their addiction. There are people in your community, such as in your churches, in your YMCAs, anywhere locally in your community, there are people that need help. Be a soldier on the war of drug like myself and go out there and help these folks. These people count on you, and they need to know that they can live happy and sober without alcohol or drugs. The addiction can be conquered and lived with daily. All they need is the right tools to do so, and they can find those tools at www.clearviews.info, or they can come to me at www.clearreform.com. They can also find a lot of those tools by calling 844-405-HELP, which is my phone number. They can also reach out to Dr. Luis Gonzalez at 844-414-8444. He is from Starting Point. That's StartingPointMN.com. Reach out to us, and please, if you live on Long Island, try to see me on Neighborhood Road, Mastic Beach, New York, while I get to talk to the real people with real stories. Remember to let the sunshine into your heart and your home, and you will get nothing but positive results. Eliminate the darkness and get rid of the negativities. And remember, if you believe it here, you will see it clear there, no matter where you are. And always remember to have a sober day, and God bless you.
So my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm here with a friend of mine that I've known for a lot of years, and he's actually really well familiar with the area. This was my stomping ground, as you know, and I used to get drunk here all the time. I used to do 10 to 15 shots of vodka, so you've probably seen a lot of that. How do you feel about the neighborhood, and what do you think we need to do to change?
We need more guys like you to try to talk to them so they can start changing, because there's too much drinking here. They got to slow down with the drinking, the alcohol, the drugs here. They need people like you who goes out and support the community. They need somebody to change this place.
Right.
This place needs to be changed.
And I agree with you. Last week I ran into a lady down the road here, and she said, and exactly what you just said, if we just had one person walk, just to give a phone number so when somebody's in need, they have somebody to call to even talk to them. I think that, but and like you know, you cannot fight any addiction without the other half, and the other half is the power of God. And
there you go.
You can have God without addiction, but you can't have addiction recovery without God.
There you go.
You have to have the good Lord constantly. And you know, I said it this way yesterday. I was on Channel 11 yesterday, and I said every night we all wear slippers, shoes, and sneakers to our bed, right?
Right.
We take them off when we leave it at the edge of our bed.
Right.
Why not put it under your bed? So in the morning when you wake up, you have to go on your knees to go and get them, and then praise God and say thank you for another day in this beautiful earth.
That's very nice. And we need to do something. I'm so glad that you coming out here every day, trying your best to talk to these people, because these people, well, by time Friday, Thursday, they're drunk walking around.
You're right.
Doing nothing about it.
Yeah, my first interview last week was right over here, standing here, and the guy was telling me he spends $300 in 2 days just on beer. And I said, well, how about just changing a little bit? How about just drinking one day to start with, and sober up on Sunday? And he said he won't.
Wow.
But you know what? With the power of God, and I say this every day on my videos, with the power of God, anything is possible. And I'm proof of that, and I'm sure you're somewhat proof of that. I mean, you have a lot of God in you already.
Sure.
I've only since I sobered up started seeking the Lord a lot more. But that was God talking to me. So, but I do appreciate you letting me put this on.
No
and this will just go on one of my videos. But I think when people hear a voice, it means more than my voice all the time. So let me shut this door up. Hold on, go over here. And my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm here with a young lady at laundromat. And we were just talking about her grandfather had you said alcohol addiction, right?
Yes.
And how old was he when he died?
64.
Did he die because of the alcohol?
Yes, he didn't stop.
He just drank.
Alcohol was his food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Like me. That's how I used to drink 10 to 15 shots a day. I live in the Hamptons, but this was my stomping ground. I'd walk from my house on Pagoda to the liquor shop, and by the time I went from there back to my house, I drank all that. And I since then went to college and became an addiction recovery coach, and that's what I do now. And I do believe that we need to go out, and it's people like you and even Pat sitting there and me to help other people. Just as much as the church gives out food, we need to give out advice on how to fight alcoholism. But your grandfather, he died of alcoholism, and
He was diagnosed with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and he didn't take care of himself. He didn't take the medicine.
what did he drink? Beer or anything? Any alcohol?
Actually, there was a type of liquor that they did back in my country, and they would like bury it.
So almost like down south, the moonshine, homemade liquor?
Something like that,
Yeah.
yes. But it was so strong that half a bottle would knock you out.
Oh, boy.
So when my grandmother would feed him, he would like try to eat a little bit of food, but the liquor was his drink right after.
Oh, I know it. And then you would hardly ever eat because you fill up on the liquor so much.
Exactly.
And I would drink to the point where by the time the afternoon came, I was half asleep. People wouldn't even talk to me. Couldn't talk to me because I wasn't up. But you know, it's people like you because you know somebody who died, and so if you just spread the word, if you see people walking the streets drinking with beer, I mean, I'm not saying go and say don't do that because these days people will kill you for the stupidest things. But you have a situation, and believe me, this will be on one of the airings. And, it's just your story. You're just telling your story. But if you ever do want to go and take a look at some of my videos, you can go right there. There's about 130 videos on my channel, 11, 1, 2, and 3 on YouTube. So take a look, okay? And it was so nice meeting you. My name is Ralf Friedrichs, okay? Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Let me shut this off. Bye-bye now. Yes? Okay, so this is Ralph. Do you mind if I give you a name? Just your first name. I'm just with Pete, and what Pete is doing is he's walking around their old stomping grounds of mine, which used to be my alcohol haven, I used to call it. I used to walk from my house, Pete, to the liquor shop and back and drink 10 shots of vodka. So what Pete is doing is he's actually cleaning up the neighborhood, which is very applaudable. First of all, I want to tell you that, but tell me what you're finding here. You're finding like things like...
Well, we're finding a lot of drug paraphernalia, needles, alcohol bottles, whether it be small little nips or the big liter bottles broken, a lot of trash. People are just to the point where a lot of good people in this community, and what we're doing is we're trying to take the community back.
Right.
Unfortunately, whether it be the state or the county, they're dumping on this area. We're all the low-class people, and we're trying to make it better.
Right.
There's a group of us, about 3 people. We've been doing this since March, and we're trying to get more people involved. Now, the local Boy Scout troop came down to the village hall one time, says, "Oh, the Eagle Scouts need projects and this and that." We went up to the village, we gave them the information. We haven't seen a Boy Scout since the village meeting.
Wow.
We're trying to get the younger people involved, but they don't want no part of it for some reason. You know. One of our local merchants who just opened up a barbershop in town, he says, "I'll get people." And I gave him the information, and he had gotten 2 people today, unfortunately young children.
Yeah.
But he wants to start them young.
Right.
So, but hopefully we can get more people going. Well, every Sunday we do this.
Oh, great.
You know, and they can contact the village hall to clean up. You know,
just volunteer. It's on a volunteer basis.
It's on a volunteer basis. Usually we start around 8:30 in the morning. And we're done. Thank you. And we're done around 10:30. Today we're running late because we're very short-handed today.
Right, right.
And you know, we're finding issues even with the code enforcement area, because we're finding people living behind vacant buildings, and I guess they're not able to, because of manpower, go back and evict them, because code enforcement has no jail facility.
Right.
And of course the 7th precinct is short-handed. There's only 1 car, I think, for this area. So, you know, they should...
and of course your job would be a lot easier if we had a better way of fighting addiction in the first place.
Right. I mean...
Because then you wouldn't find the things you're finding.
I think also, too, that the state has to say, well, and I don't want to put the blame on the people of the community, but a lot of people here have second places because they bought when it was very cheap, and they're using it as rentals, and the state's going after those people who are like, "Oh, we'll give you $1,000 to house this family there, or Section 8 or welfare or whatever," and you know, And it's it comes in all denominations.
Yeah,
it's not just one type of person.
No,
of
course.
It's all people.
It's all to the
And a lot of people, whether because of the layoff, which I was a victim of back in 2010 with the crisis, they can't get a decent job again or whatever. They're finding other ways and they're giving up. And we're trying to get it so people don't give up.
Right. Well, you said it. It's the don't give up attitude, because once you give up, you gave up, and that's pretty much it then. But it's people like you that are really helping the community.
Well, I really appreciate
I really wish that my job, on my end of it, I don't know if you're aware. I mean, Pete and I go back a lot of years.
Right.
I've always been involved with eyeglasses. It's been my life. But I just recently graduated from a university. Also, now I'm a Master of Recovery Addiction Coach.
Okay.
And that's why I'm doing this.
Okay.
What I am doing is pro bono, trying to help people and giving them coaching, not just for addiction, but also for life coaching.
Okay.
And my thing here is to help them, because if I help them in the first place, you'll have less to worry about at your end of it.
Right.
So in conjunction, we kind of work together, me in the start and you at the end.
Right. And the whole thing too is maybe you come down to one of our village meetings.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next meeting is on the 14th.
On the 14th? Okay, what time?
7:30.
Okay.
And if you come down, you can just go up to the table and say to Mayor Biondi, say, listen, I'm a resident of this area for thousands of years. I still have a home here. I recently relocated. This is what I do. Can I have 2 minutes or 3 minutes to speak?
Okay, that sounds good.
And then you can tell more about your program and bring some more flyers.
Yeah, definitely.
And hopefully hand in hand, this will turn back. I mean, I know a lot of people sit here and say, like we went for a walk on the dunes when Hurricane Sandy first hit. One of the gentlemen was here. He says, back in the 50s, we had 30-foot dunes. Yeah, well, now you don't have, but after 10
20 years ago, you and I were thinner.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah. I mean, like in 1970, when the dunes were 10 feet high, you should have done something then until you get down to nothing.
Right.
But my thing is, if you start now and try and help people, if you help one person, maybe that one person will help somebody else.
And you know what, Pete, you're so right, because I say during every show that I do, there are 2 people that I'm looking to help. One, hopefully, it'd be whoever is listening in my audience, and I guarantee I help me.
Right.
Every time, because this is my recovery program for myself, and this is what I created.
I mean, I do this on the weekends. I'm taking away from my family, from my house.
But you're going to be blessed from God with this.
I'm helping. I'm doing it because it's more the environment. I work with lab animals. I'm an animal lab tech for a university, medical school, and I also did wildlife recovery. Yeah. So if I see an animal in distress, if that animal survives and can go back into, if it goes back into the wild, I'm happy. If it can't, it stays in a cage in a zoo or a facility, at least it's alive and I did my part.
Well, that's good. And you know what? It's the 14th, right? You said?
The 14th at 7:30 in the Village Hall.
Okay. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be there, and I'll bring some of my business cards. Let me just give you one of my cards. And it's a pretty simple thing. Help.
Okay.
Can't get any easier than that, and help, right? And I certainly appreciate you doing this interview, Pete. It's always a good seeing you.
And when this is on YouTube?
It's going to be, if you go to this website, well, let me see, is my other website on there? Because I have 2 websites. The other one is Clear Views. Did we put it on this one? Oh, it's right there. You see clearviews.info? Yeah. On clearviews.info, there's over 130 videos already.
Okay.
They average about an hour and a half. I have sponsors. I do my own commercial. I'm the host, the producer, the director.
Okay.
Take a look at some of the videos. There's a topic almost every day that affects each and one of us in this community.
Okay.
Even you with your animals, believe me. Right. There's always a topic.
Well, like I said, I mean, like when I go to work and stuff, I run into different people. I mean, I got so many. I'm wearing so many different hats right now because I started with the animals. I go to Takaposha. I meet somebody. I said, "Oh, can I take a picture of your alligator?" Yeah. Someone there says, "Well, he knows this person." Oh yeah. Now I'm holding the boa. I did the facility with York Decks to Nature. Wow. At to try hammerfish, boa constrictors. So I mean, I have a lot of people. Well,
you know, all those hats that you're wearing, it's really good, especially in our age group now, because it keeps your mind going, keeps you fresh, and more importantly, not for you, but for me, it keeps me away from doing other things.
Right. Well, I'm still getting senile, but
that's all right, Pete. But, always good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
And I will definitely see you on the 14th. Okay. But you'll see me here next Sunday if you're here. I come every Sunday for about an hour. Yeah, I was going to start going to the. I know her.
Well, next Sunday we're going to be over by Wavecrest. We're going to be doing Wavecrest.
Maybe I'll stop over there and I'll catch up with you. Thanks, Pete.
And what I'll do is I'll keep in touch with you email-wise.
Yes, hi.
That was you.
How you been?
Good.
Thanks,
Good seeing
Pete.
you.
Thank you.
Say
Good
hello to
seeing you.
Dad.
I certainly will. He was just up here visiting.
Really?
Yeah, but he's back down in Myrtle Beach.
How's your mom doing?
My mom is, thanks, Pete, lives right around the corner by King Cullen.
Oh, she's still over there.
Yeah.
She was there.
Yeah, so I moved. I live out in Hampton Bays, but I come back to my stomping grounds because I used to be a really bad alcoholic. And since then, I graduated from school, and I'm an addiction recovery coach. So what I do is I come down to my stomping grounds.
Okay.
Pro bono, I give any coaching to anyone that wants it for free. I'm going to give you, not for you, but if you know somebody.
Sure. Give me some of them, definitely. I know a lot of people.
Everybody comes to this fork in the road in life. You're either going to go to the addiction or recovery. I'm here to help go to this side. But it's not just for addiction. I do life coaching. I do all that. How's your daughter doing? Good? Okay, your mother. How's your mother?
My mother's
I'm
good.
sorry.
My niece is good. That's who you mean.
Yeah, and your dad,
My
that was
sister.
your father over there.
No.
And that's that was,
my
yeah.
mom's husband.
Oh, okay.
But,
But
you know,
if
I have 8 years clean.
good for you. How do you stay clean? AA or? Because I don't use AA. I use my own methods, which is channel 11, channel 1, 2, and 3 on YouTube every day for 2-hour videos.
Good for you. No,
Yeah.
mine is just I got involved with the community.
Good for you, and I see that, and
Yeah.
you know, I've known Pete for a lot of years, and
Yeah.
that is really good. If you ever want to talk about
I will.
what your bad past as far as your drinking, like I do, and there's no shame in talking about it. I can either do it on audio or on video, and you'll be seen all over not just the country, all over the world.
Really?
Yeah, I have about 5.2 billion followers right now worldwide.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get in touch with you.
Yeah, so get in touch with me. Let me give you my card, and
I will.
get in touch
I would
with
like
me.
to do that.
And it doesn't have to be on video, because a lot of people, for some reason, and you know, during my videos, I always said there's no shame. People will respect you more for coming clean and talking about it than if you're just hiding like I used to do in the closet.
Yes.
So if you want to, I can come to you with a video camera, and I'll definitely put you on, okay? It's good seeing you again.
You too, honey.
Bye-bye.
How's your wife doing?
She's good. She's waiting for me. She's in the car down there, the caddy.
Oh,
Because
okay.
we come out here for an hour on a Sunday. That's the only time I really have. But I felt coming to my stomping ground where I did my most drinking is the best place because I know the area.
Yeah, see, I left my stomping grounds. I left here when I was doing my dirt.
Well, see, I did too.
I
I
came
lived
home when I was ready.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, for me to come here because I really do. I used to walk from that liquor shop to my house on Pagoda and drink 15 shots of vodka on my walk. And I used to do exactly what you're doing here, is just throw my shots into the woods and stuff. So what you guys, I was just saying to Pete, if I can prevent in the beginning, you won't have to do this at the end. It's all teamwork, so. But we'll talk, okay?
Yes, I will.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
I'll
I'll definitely do that. Thanks. Bye-bye. Take care, Pete. Bye-bye. Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking to them. They invited me to speak at the next village meeting. So, yeah, I'm actually friends with a couple people there. And yeah, but yeah, so maybe at the 14th, 7:30, do you want to stop by? All right? Okay, thank you, Pat. You too. Hey, how you doing? Would you mind if I give you one of these? I'm just trying to help the neighborhood fight addiction recovery from drugs and alcohol. If you know anybody, including yourself, I do it for free of charge. I'm an addiction recovery coach. Everybody faces a fork in the road, either addiction or recovery. Good for you. Have you beaten it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Every once in a while you still do?
It took me 16 years to do it.
You know what? It's never too late. I always talk about the book of life. It's the last chapters that are most important in your life, you know? So, good for you. If you know anybody, pass that on, okay?
Well,
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, let me give you my direct business card, too, then. That'll probably help you even more than that flyer.
Hey, got back from Florida.
Oh, okay. What does she have, alcohol issues? Or both?
A little bit more.
A little bit more, huh? Is that bad?
Yeah. She's been going to the meetings. I don't know how sincere she is. I mean, I love her, but I got no respect for her.
Now, did you use AA, too? Because I tried to use AA.
I use prison.
Oh, okay. I used the prison my own life, but I tried AA and it didn't do anything to me. I had to come up with my own way of...
Pretty much, I mean, I still drink beer.
Right.
But that's it. I'll never touch. So I've been getting high my whole life.
Wow.
And it took me 16-year prison sentence.
16 years. Wow.
say, what the fuck am I doing? Because it was my 16-year prison sentence.
Wow.
And I'm still fucking fighting with bullshit. Not with that, with them. I just got fucking extradited for an apology. I got fucking slammed in Florida.
For an apology?
Yeah, they extradited. My life was good too. I just got out in 2012.
Wow.
At 54 years old. And my life started falling into place. I was doing good. And they claimed I didn't try and get my probation with Florida resolved, and I did. We showed up in February. They came and put the bracelets on February. I was on federal probation the whole time I was here too.
Jesus. And they extradited you all the way down to Florida for that?
3 weeks in the county jail, a week to get the fuck there in the doghouse, then 3 or 4 weeks in the county jail there. And when I finally got to probation there, they says, "Oh, Mr. Toro, we're really sorry that you got caught up in this bullshit, but it's right there to try to get this matter resolved."
Wow.
Because it's one of the first things my federal appeal told me to do.
Wow.
And he off bench warrants and all this shit.
And that's all you got as an apology.
Yeah, and it ruined my fucking. It ruined me. I just got back 2 months ago. 5 months.
So now you're probably looking for work and all that again, and wow.
I'm all fucked up now. I mean,
You know,
I live around the corner.
I'm going to be at the village meeting on the 14th, talking about addiction. But if you on Sundays volunteer to help clean up the streets, you can get your way into possibly working for their maintenance program, because I know they're looking for help. You know, the construction maintenance and cleanup, they are looking for help if you go down to the village hall. Just ask them. But, you know, I'm saying this with respect. I don't know what their criteria are for background. That's all I'm saying about that. You might want to just check into it. But I happen to know some people here. I ran for trustee years ago here.
My name's Paul. Right now, my head's up my ass. I'm trying to get my old lady's phone.
Yeah. All right. Too much to think about.
On there?
Yeah, my number's on there. Give me a call. On that piece of paper I gave you.
Yeah.
Both my websites, over 130 videos. Show your niece. You said your niece, right?
Yeah. My sister's daughter.
Yeah. Show your niece some of those videos. It talks about everything.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it on to my sister.
Okay.
My niece is already robbed up for about 40 grand.
Wow.
She's young. She's 22. She's a gorgeous kid. She looks 17. And she fucked up. I tried to talk to her. You know. And
Right.
Like my sister just asked me to put her extra vehicle on the road, Jeep, which I used to use because I was driving without a license before, and I won't do it now because I'll go back to Florida.
Yeah.
I'm on parole now in the fucking state.
You don't want to do that over.
Okay, and I really don't want to do time in Florida again.
Yeah, you use public transportation, bicycles,
well,
whatever.
Over here it sucks.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fallback.
To get a bus here on this road?
To get it to work. I'm in construction.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
You have to drive to the site, pretty much, wherever the site is.
That, or I used to use the Jeep and go to the train station because I was working in Manhattan. I would take a 2-hour trip.
Yeah.
2-hour trip back. I didn't give a fuck.
And you don't want to take a cab up to the trains? It's like $6, $7 bucks.
Yeah, but it's by the time you figure that in and you figure in the cost of the trains.
I know.
You know, even if you're making $150 a day.
It adds up at the end. A train alone is like $4.80 a month.
It's $22. If you get the monthly ticket, it's not that bad. It's like $12 each way.
Yeah.
So it's $24. The cab, you know, you're doing $34, $50, $44 a day. If you're making $150 a day, it's not bad. Right. I don't care. Because after 16 years, my friend, I don't give a fuck. I don't look to live extravagant no more. I did that already.
Right.
You know, I'm just looking. It's nice not to use sandpaper or toilet paper.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to fucking be able to pay my bills. I just came back. I got to go back to social services.
Wow.
And I haven't did that route since I came back.
Yeah, you got a lot going on right now.
It is what it is. I mean, I'm a survivor.
Yeah, you take one day at a time. And
I'm doing a fucking job down on Montauk Road, Montauk Drive, whatever the fuck it is. I just put up a shed. I'm making it into a sauna.
Yeah, maybe you can even put up like a little flyer up in there. And
I had flyers. There was another dude that lives around here who's straight as a boy, never fucked around. But he's like really unreliable.
Yeah.
I paid for her, my old lady to get a license, but she's her ass up her ass out. She's got 4 kids.
Wow.
She's 54 with 2 twins as well. She started raising mine. And you know, I paid for her license. I figured, all right, if I'm working on the books, I can get talk to one of my relatives and probably get a truck on loan. But then would that be a mistake too? Because she is not a complete angel.
Yeah, yeah. And you got to worry about who you associate yourself with because of your probation. But you know what? Look at it this way. This is the way I would look at it. You had the hard things happen in your life. It can only get better from this point, and it certainly will. Listen, if you get a chance, stop down at the village and just ask them, because I know they need people just they pay to clean up this.
Where is the village?
Do you know where that little gas station is?
Yeah.
Right across the street. Yeah, right across the street. Just stop in there and talk to them, okay?
I will.
Nice meeting you. Take care, sir. I hope everything... Okay, terrific.
All right, and like I said, I mean, her name is Tiffany, my niece.
Okay.
And maybe you can do something good for her.
Maybe, and I'm going to be here the next 8 Sundays around this time, because I moved since then. I live in Hampton Bays.
Right on the other side of fucking Sunrise.
Okay, well, if she calls me, if you call me, I'll make sure I get to her.
My sister will probably definitely call.
And you know what? She doesn't physically have to meet with me. We can do it over Skype. I can talk to her. We can do it over the phone. Just give her.
My landlord, he goes to the meetings over by the ice cream parlor.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so I introduced them. But she looks for, I don't think she's had the bottom yet.
You got to hit rock bottom, because otherwise it's. But you know what? As long as she keeps plugging at it, that's the thing.
If she does.
If she does, right?
She's a fucking good manipulator.
Aren't we all when we want some?
She is. I never robbed my parents.
Nah.
I robbed a dope dealer.
Yeah.
I used to, I'm 56, so everything nowadays was robbing cars.
Yeah.
You know, she is a fucking manipulator.
Wow.
I mean, she's the queen of fucking hearts.
Oh, jeez.
My sister asked me to put the Jeep back on the road. I don't want to do it, but then I feel like I'm doing something for her. And right now, I don't really think it's the right thing to do.
Right.
Because that's going to open doors for her to do.
Play her game.
You know, and like I said, I'm not a firm believer in the meetings. I was forced to stay in the halfway house per choice to get my paperwork transferred back to New York when they extradited me. And I see the shit that goes on, and actually I lost my chain of thought.
Well, the main thing is that hopefully she'll hit rock bottom sooner or later.
I hope
sooner or later, but
my sister said, I figured one of two things: go to jail, she's scared to death, or she get a phone call.
Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs, and welcome to Take Your Life Back. Folks, if somebody had to paint a picture of your image, what would it look like? Good morning. Welcome to Take Your Life Back. Today's feature presentation is how to come back after a relapse. So grab your popcorn, grab your soda. Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs, and welcome to Take Your Life Back. Well, here we are, another weekend. Today is Saturday, October 4th, and for some, weekends are party time. Weekends are a time to go out and drink and go ahead and do your drugs more than you would during the week because it is the weekend. You don't have to worry about work. However, if weekends are the particular times that you do most of your partying and yet you still drink and do some sort of drugs during the week, you might have an addiction. I know that I have an addiction, but I have learned to live with it. If you do have an addiction, you will definitely want to see this today, because today we are going to talk about what is addiction. What are some of the signs for addiction? What are some of the causes for addictions? What are the risk factors for addiction? That's what we're going to talk about today. But first, as always, let me give a shout out to my friend, Dr. Luis Gonzalez from Starting Point at www.startingpointmn.com. That's startingpointmn.com. Dr. Luis Gonzalez at 844-414-8444. Dr. Gonzalez, like myself, is an addiction recovery coach. He, on one side, will perform a educational program that he has for you if you have one of these qualities, or all these qualities, I should say: professionalism, personality, passion, and if you have an addiction background, whether it's your own addiction battles or maybe helping other people that have some sort of addiction. Also, on the other side of his business, what he has is the coaching part, and that would be to do exactly what I do, and that's to help you walk from your addiction to your recovery daily, 24 hours at a time, never ever talking about the past. He will only concentrate on today and tomorrow. So you have two sides of his business. You have how to become a coach with his educational programs. If you have passion, personality, and professionalism, and some addiction background. And the other side of his business, you have the addiction recovery coaching, like I do, at www.clearreform.com. That's CLEARREFORM.com. I, like Dr. Luis Gonzalez, am an addiction recovery coach. I will walk you from your addiction to your recovery daily, 24 hours at a time. Never ever thinking about yesterday or talking about yesterday. Dr. Luis Gonzalez and I are not counselors or therapists. We are addiction recovery coaches, and that's what we do. On my other website at www.clearviews.info, you will find tons of information, tons of videos on addiction, recovery, any sort of plans on how to battle your addictions. There are action plans. Amazon has books on there about addiction, about the 12 steps. There's puzzles. There's over 138 videos of my own on www.clearviews.info. Also, shout out to Pam Hemphill. Pam Hemphill has a show that kind of concentrates on recovery, and it's called Time to Heal. That's Time to Heal, and you can find her on Facebook, and you can find her on YouTube. I believe she's up to episode number 18, which she just completed this morning, or last night I should say, which I'm going to stick onto my website at www.clearviews.info. She has her own page. If you go between pages 6 and no, actually it's right past page 8. You'll see it says Time to Heal. The pages between 6 and 8 is all the states, and what you have is, if you click on the state you live in, you might find a rehab treatment center nearby you. If you don't, then you just go to Google and search to the search bar, type in treatment centers and your area, and you'll find them. However, for Pam Hemphill, Time to Heal is her recovery show. She concentrates on recovery. You can find her on clearviews.info, CLEARVIEWS.info. You notice that both my websites start with the word clear, Clear Views and Clear Reform. The word clear was invented by me, not the word itself, but the meaning for my particular websites. What I decided to clarify clear as is community, lessons empower addiction recovery. It is our community's lessons, my lessons, Dr. Luis Gonzalez's lessons, Dr. Pam Hemphill's lessons, even your lessons will empower addiction recovery. So we as a community, as a global world, need to all come together to fight addiction. Addiction won't go away by itself. It will not just heal by itself. It takes people that have the addiction to have an action plan and how to live with it. And it's people that even don't have the addiction to go out and witness to the people that do have addiction. There is nothing wrong for people to come out and help each other on the streets and YMCAs, at the churches. Matter of fact, tomorrow, Sunday, October 5th, I will be in Mastic Beach like I have been in the previous Sundays, walking the streets on Neighborhood Road, talking to the church. And what we are doing is we're getting real people to tell their real stories on tape. Those tapes then will be for your listening pleasure. And I don't want to put it in a sense of pleasure, because how much pleasure can there be in other people's stories on addiction? The reason I use the word pleasure is because these are real people with real stories. There's nothing edited on my end. It is purely for you to see that you, if you are addicted, are not alone. I am addicted. I'm not alone. And I will tell you, I have no shame, none whatsoever, to come on these videos daily to let you know that there is hope, there is pleasure and joy in living with sobriety. And I am not ashamed to admit I have an addiction, because when we go through all this all came from the Mayo Clinic, you'll know that addiction is not a choice. What is a choice is to live with it, how to live with it. It's how to fight it. The addiction part of it is not a choice by you. It is something that could possibly be inherited. It is something that's medically in you that can't be changed without proper education. What the choice is for you to finally say, I do have an addiction and I do need help, and start fighting it. And that's where this segment comes in. This segment is called What is Addiction? As always, you can tell when I speak from my heart, when I don't have to read, because I am more personable. I don't mispronounce words as much. But when it comes to the reading, which is now plastered here on this, you can see my hands on the laptop and all the way up here, I have to fit a whole segment taped, literally taped with Scotch tape to my laptop screen. So I have cue cards to read this information for you to learn and to see what addiction is all about. So bear with me if I mispronounce words or if I hesitate. We will now start with what is addiction. People with an addiction do not have control over what they are doing, taking, or using. Their addiction may reach a point at which it may and will become harmful. Remember, I said an addiction is not a choice. Living with the addiction is a choice. Denying the next addiction or admitting you have an addiction is the choice that you have. Denying that you have a problem, that will not only give you consequences that you'll pay for the rest of your life, but it might also ruin relationships. It might also ruin job opportunities, etc. It just gets worse. So what we need to do is figure out why addiction is so harmful and how people cannot have control of it and what needs to be done. What is the difference between habit and addiction? What is the difference? Well, I'm going to give you the definition. In addiction, there is a psychological, physical component. The person is unable to control the aspects of the addiction without help because of mental or physical conditions involved. That's an addiction. A habit is done by choice. You get to choose the habit. You don't get to choose if you're addicted to drugs and alcohol. What you do get to choose about that is how to seek help. The person with a habit can choose to stop and will subsequently stop successfully if they want to. The psychological physical component is not an issue as it is with an addiction. Put simply, With a habit, you are in control of your choices. With addiction, you are not in control of your choices. That is the difference between an addiction and a habit. I didn't have a habit of drinking 10 to 15 shots a day. I thought that my body had to have that daily. Remember, the key word is I thought. When I hit rock bottom and I started seeking help, I realized that you can live with an addiction with proper tools, with a proper action plan, and with the Almighty God involved in your addiction plan. Addiction is habitual, psychological, and psychologic dependence on substance or practice that is beyond voluntary control. Withdrawal has many meanings, one of which is a psychological and or physical syndrome caused by an abrupt cessation of use of drug and habituated to the habituated person. Substance dependence is when an individual persists to use the alcohol or drugs despite problems related to the use of the substance. Substance dependence may be diagnosed. Compulsive and repetitive use may result in tolerance to the effect of the drug. The withdrawal symptoms when use is reduced or stopped. Folks, I came to a point that if I didn't have at least, and I say a minimum of 10 shots, I thought I was going to die. Folks, that is the body telling me there is no way to live without alcohol, but I thought that's what the body was telling me, but it was actually the devil inside, the addiction, the part of my mind that was controlling the addiction, saying you needed it when in fact you don't. What are signs and symptoms of addiction? Substance dependence. Substance dependence, when a person is addicted to a substance such as a drug, alcohol, or nicotine, even smoking, they are not able to control the use of the substance. They continue taking it even though it may cause harm. The individual may or may not be aware of the potential harm. What are the harms of smoking? Lung cancer, hurting people around you with other smoke. What are the harms of drinking? Overdosing, kidney failure, liver cancer, or liver failure. What are the consequences of drugs? Coma, cancer. Worst of all, overdose on alcohol and drugs. The person takes the substance and cannot stop. In many cases, such as nicotine, alcohol, or drug dependence, at least one serious attempt was made to give up but unsuccessful. We call that, what do we call that? A relapse. Folks, I had 6 to 7 relapses before I finally hit rock bottom. And I will tell you, when you hit rock bottom, I almost guarantee, speaking from experience now, that you'll know this is it. Because that's when you know that you can't control your life, because the addiction has taken over your life. That's when you have to reach out to other people for help and reach to your higher power for guidance and direction. We're going to talk about that later. Withdrawal symptoms. When the body levels of that substance goes below a certain level, the patient has physical and mood-related symptoms. There are craving, bouts of moodiness, bad temper, poor focus, a feeling of being depressed and empty, frustration, anger, bitterness, and resentment. Those are all withdrawal symptoms. There may suddenly be increased appetite. Insomnia is a common symptom of withdrawal. In some cases, the individual may have constipation or diarrhea. With some substances, withdrawal can trigger violence, trembling, seizures, hallucination, and sweats. Folks, I can relate to almost every single one of them. Can you? Addiction continues despite health problems. Awareness. The individual continues taking the substance regularly, even though they have developed illnesses linked to it. For example, a smoker may continue smoking even after a lung or heart condition develops. Social and recreational sacrifices. Some activities are given up because of an addiction to something. For an example, an alcoholic may turn down invitation to go camping or spend a day out on the boat if there is no alcohol available, and I know that because Folks, and I'm going to be honest, when we used to take the kids to Adventureland, I knew I wasn't able to get any alcohol, and I dreaded going because I just said to myself, my God, this is going to be a long day without my 10 to 15 shots of vodka. How am I going to survive this? Folks, it's very easy. You have to admit you have a problem, and survival is around the corner waiting for you. Maintaining a good supply. People who are addicted to substance will always make sure they have a good supply of it, even if they do not have much money. Sacrifices may be made in the house budget to make sure substance is plentiful and possible at all times. I get a perfect example would be a mother or father that has an alcohol problem, and they go to the grocery store, and instead of getting milk and eggs and bread for the family, they're more worried about getting their fix. That is a perfect example of maintaining a good supply. Their priorities are not set for what's important in their lives. It's what's important to feed that addiction. This one's way up there. Taking risks. In some cases, the addicted individual may take risks, making sure he or she can attain their substances, such as stealing or trading sex for money. You prostitute yourself, or you're stealing your money from home. These are things that are going to happen if you need to make sure to constantly get whatever you feel you need, that you really don't, but you feel you need. Taking risks. Number 2. While under the influence of some substance, an addict may engage in risky activities such as driving fast. You start becoming Superman behind the wheel. Dealing with problems, an addicted person commonly feels they need their drug to deal with their problems. You just got fired. You feel that you have to have some sort of alcohol to overcome that. You receive so many bills in the mail, you feel that the only way to overcome that is to drink alcohol. Folks, it is because of the alcohol that you maybe lost your job, or you maybe have excessive bills because you were taking away money to supply your addiction, or you were going to work under the influence. That, folks, is the cause of a lot of things. Obsession. An addicted person may spend more and more time and energy focusing on ways of getting hold of their substance, and in some cases how to use it. I used to wait for that liquor shop to open. Even if 10 o'clock came around and the owner didn't show up, I would wait no matter what, because I said, I need that fix. How am I going to go through the whole day without my vodka? Folks, you can, and we'll find out how. Secrecy and solitude. In many cases, the addict may take their substance alone and even in secret, otherwise known as a closet drinker. And folks, if you really think that people don't notice when you're drunk or high, they do. They really do. They notice tremendously. It's your moods, it's your color, your skin color, it's your slurring of your words. Denial. This is the one factor that is the most important, because when you stop denying, you start living. When you continue denial, you continuously feed to your addiction. A significant number of people who are addicted to substance are in denial. They are not aware or refuse to acknowledge that they have a problem. The only way to fight addiction is to first stop denying it. Start saying you have a problem. There is no shame in doing that. People will respect you more when they see that you are trying to help yourself. No one can force you to stop drinking or doing drugs. You are in control of yourself, and you, in conjunction with your higher power, in my case, my God, can work and beat addiction daily. Excessive consumption, like I used to, 10 to 15 shots a day. In some addictions, such as alcohol, some drugs, and even nicotine, the individual consumes it in excess. The consequences can be blackouts, which I've had, cannot remember chunks of time, or physical symptoms such as sore throat and bad persistent cough. Heavy smokers. You know, when you read this, it brings back memories, because I've been through all this. But guess what, folks? I don't even have to worry about any of these. I remember things that happened, like, folks, I have phone numbers stored in my mind, like Dr. Luis Gonzalez at 414-8444. That is a number that sticks in my mind. If I would have done that a couple of years ago under my drunken stage, I wouldn't have. I couldn't even remember my own phone number. Dropping hobbies and activities. So, as the addiction progresses, the individual may stop doing things that he or she used to enjoy a lot. Like I used to love doing ice hockey. This may even be the case with smokers who find they cannot physically cope with taking part in their favorite sport. Alcohol and smoking and drugs do not mix with sports. Having stashes. The addicted individual may have small stocks of this substance hidden away in different parts of the home or car, often unlikely places. I used to hide mine in the shed. I used to buy 40 shots in one purchase, and then hide the shots, and then consistently and constantly have some reason to go out in the backyard to do something. I would then drink shot after shot after shot, to the point where I just was so tired I'd fall asleep, if not black out. Taking an initial large dose. This is common with alcoholism, and I've done that, where you just feel that you're not high or drunk enough and you just keep on drinking. The individual may gulp drinks down in order to get drunk and feel good, sometimes even faster. I would take maybe 7 shots real quick, and I still say to myself, well, this doesn't affect me. But folks, it does come around. It will kick you in the butt. Having problems with the law. This is a more characteristic of some drug and alcohol addictions, not nicotine, for example. This may be either because the substance impaired judgment of an individual takes risks they would not take when they're sober, such as getting behind the wheel driving, such as possibly because you want to get your substance somehow, robbing somebody, breaking in somebody's home, stealing from a store. These are things you don't normally do when you're sober, but because the part of your brain, not the cortex part, but the booze brain part, or drug brain in some cases, is saying, I need, and you will comply to feed that addiction. Financial difficulties. If the substance is expensive, the addicted individual may sacrifice a lot to make sure its supply is secured. Even cigarettes, which in some countries such as the UK, parts of Europe, and USA cost over $11 for a pack of 20. A 40 a day smoker in such an area will need to put aside $660 per month, nearly $8,000 a year. I'm sorry, the font is very small today because I had to squeeze a lot into this. So this, if you're doing 40 cigarettes a day, this will approximately cost you $660 a month. That's like 3 car payments, folks. And you know what? And then because you smoke so much and you end up with lung cancer, then all that chemo you have to pay for. If not successful, it's your death. The same with alcoholism, the same with drug addiction. Relationship problem. These are more common in drug and alcohol addiction, not as much with cigarettes. Some such substance alcohol abusers who are not technically addicted may also suffer from the cause of some of the descriptions mentioned above, but they do not usually have the withdrawal symptoms of an addict in the same compulsion to consume the substance. Relationship problems could be because your husband or your wife or your partner notice your over consumption of alcohol, possibly even drugs, and they bring this out to you constantly, and they beg of you to seek help, and you just are denying over and over and over again. That will put a strain on your relationship. What are the risk factors for addiction? Genetics. Anybody who has a close relative with an addiction problem has a higher risk of eventually having one themselves. If you have parents that were alcoholics or addicted to drugs, it could have been passed to you. It may be argued that environmental and circumstantial factors that close family members share are prominent causes. Alcoholics are 6 times more likely than non-alcoholics to have blood relatives who are alcohol dependent. Researchers from the Universitat de Granada, Spain, in the study revealed that the lack of endorphin is hereditary, and thus there is a genetic predisposition to become addicted to the alcohol. This font was written in red and I can barely make it out, but that's what it says. In other words, you inherited it, the alcoholism. It's in your blood. Genetics believe that the reason some people try cigarettes and do not become smokers while others do very quickly is probably linked to the type of genes we inherited from our parents. Some people can smoke once in a while throughout their lives and never seem to become addicted, while others are unable to stop without experiencing their unpleasant withdrawal symptoms. It is most likely the way the receptors on the surface of our brain cells respond to nicotine is influenced by our genes. It all originates, honestly, here in your brain. Remember, we have the cortex and then we have the booze brain, or the I choose to call sometimes the devil brain. A lot of it is willpower on your side and acceptance that you have a problem. Gender. A higher percentage of people addicted to a substance are male. According to the Mayo Clinic USA, males are twice likely than females to have problems with drugs. I don't know why. Is it lack of willpower? I personally believe that women are stronger minded than men. Women can accept pain better than men. I mean, call me crazy, but that's the assumption that I see. Having a mental illness condition, people with depression, ADHD, attention deficit, hyperactivity disorder, and several other mental conditions, illnesses have a higher risk of eventually becoming addicted to drugs and alcohol, or even nicotine. Peer pressure can cause a lot of it. Trying to conform with other members of a group and gain acceptance can encourage people to take up the use of potential addictive substances and eventually become addicted to them. Peer pressure is an especially strong factor for the young people, and that's why we are going to address, after this segment, role modelship, like we do in every one. Family behavior. Young people do not have strong attachment to their parents, who do not have a strong attachment to their parents, and sometimes have a higher risk of becoming addicted to something one day compared to people with deep family attachments. Role model. I should really interrupt this and go right into it, which I'm going to do, because before we lose our concentration, remember what it says: peer pressure, because they're not attached to their family as much. In other words, let's read the peer pressure and get the peer pressure. Trying to conform with other family members, other members of a group, and gain acceptance can encourage people to take up the use of potential addictive substance and eventually become addicted to themselves. Peer pressure is especially strong for the young people. And why? Because of family behavior. Young people who do not have a strong attachment to their parents and siblings are higher risk of becoming addicted to something one day compared to people with deep family attachments. And what is family attachment? It starts at your home as a role model. These are the 4 things that we always talk about that you should never do if you are in fact the person in your home that is the role model. You should never smoke in front of your children. You should never drink in front of your children. You should never use profanity in front of your children. And you should definitely never, ever, anywhere use physical abuse. Those are the 4 things. These are the 4 things that is causing less family attachment. These are the 4 things. If you're doing them, you're grooming your person to end up on the peer pressure side of this, because they don't have the family attachment. These are the 4 things that you need to do so you can concentrate on increasing your family attachment. You need to concentrate on love for your children. You need to concentrate on respect. In order to get respect, you have to give respect. You need to concentrate on number 3, compassion. If there are situations with your children, show some compassion. You've been there. You were a child. And you need to show some passion. You need to show some love. Not the love that I originally talked about in number 1. That's love for your family. To teach your children how to love one each other and you. The passion part is if your children need a hug, you need to give that hug. A pat on the shoulder, you need to give that. What are the action plans to get rid of these 4 items? Well, to get rid of the smoking, to get rid of number 1, the smoking, you need an action plan, and that action plan is to smoke on the outside of the house. Number 2, to get rid of the drinking in the house, you need to drink outside the house. Number 3, the profanity. You shouldn't need to do that at all, but if you need to use that trash bathroom type of language, go exactly into the room in the house where it belongs, in the bathroom. And if you are doing number 4, the physical abuse, you need therapy. You need some counseling, folks. And if you're the victim of the abuser, you need to call the authorities. And I say this all the time because it's easier to have your loved one taken out in handcuffs, and hopefully the courts will put this loved one through some kind of program for treatment, and that loved one comes home to you again, than for the authorities to come to your home and take you out in a body bag. Because a slap here and a punch there becomes a knife and a gun eventually, if nobody stops this abuser. So those 4 things have an action plan. And what are the 4 things that I want you to have in your home? What is the first one? Action plan for love is to show love in your family. It's to have family nights, dinner nights, family days, outings. The respect part is if your child has certain issues, not to yell, to respect their personal space, their room. Respect boundaries that they're setting for themselves. The compassion part is when they have boyfriend, girlfriend issues or teacher issues, is to listen. Don't just say, okay, whatever. And the passion part is to, when you see your children, give them a hug, give them a I love you, give them a pat on the shoulder when they're doing good, like taking out the garbage or cleaning their room. Those are the action plans for those 4 things that you have to have in the house, and those are the action plans for the 4 things that you need to get out of your house to make this family attachment a deeper one, so these children don't have the peer pressure and family behavior to cause the addictions to continue in their lives. You need to be a role model. Everything starts in the home. Let's continue. The nature of substance. Some substances such as crack, heroin, and cocaine can bring about addiction more rapidly than others. For example, if a group of people were to take crack every day for 6 months and another identical group of people to drink alcohol every day for the same period amount of time, the number of crack addicts at the end of 6 months would be a lot higher than the number of alcoholics. For some people, trying a substance even once can be enough to spark the addiction. Crack, also known as crack cocaine or rock, is a free-base form of cocaine that can be smoked. Age when substance was first consumed. Studies of alcoholism have shown that people who start consuming a drug earlier in life have a higher risk of eventually becoming addicted than those who started later. I started very young, tasting little shots of a drink in Germany called Stornsdorfer, because my grandmother in Germany, she was actually selling the bottles, and she was giving out the little testers, and I was drinking some of them. So with me it started early, so I concur with this. Where were we? Then those who started later. Many experts say that it also applies to nicotine and drugs. Stress. If a person's stress level are high, there are much greater chance of substances, such as alcohol, may be used in an attempt to blank out the upclimb of overcoming that stress level. Some stress hormones are linked to alcoholism. How the body deals with what you're intaking. In cases of alcohol, for example, individuals will need a higher dose to achieve an effective higher risk of eventually becoming addicted. Your tolerance levels will build up as you do more and more. They will not decrease, they will just increase. What are the causes of addiction? Doctors say there's a link between the repeated use of addictive substance and how a human brain experiences pleasure. Its use has a nice reward, leading to further and more frequent use. The addictive substance, be it nicotine, alcohol, and some drug, actually causes physical changes in some nerve cells in the brain. Another name for nerve cell is neuron. Neurons release neurotransmitters into the synapses, empty spaces between the nerve cells, which are received by receptors in the other neurons. What is a neurotransmitter? It is a chemical that a nerve cell releases, which thereby transmits an electric impulse from one nerve cell to another nerve cell, organ, muscle, or other tissues. But simply, a neurotransmitter is a messenger of neurological data from one cell to another. It's like a telephone. You have two ends of it. Tolerance increases. After a while, the user of the potentially addictive substance does not get the same pleasure that it had from the previous dosages, so they increase their dosage. That is a true fact because I've been there. Eventually, the user no longer experiences pleasure from the substance and takes it simply to prevent withdrawal symptoms. Taking substances just makes them feel normal. Experts say that when tolerance increases, the risk of addiction is much greater. After a while, you don't even enjoy drinking or doing your drugs anymore. But what this is saying is that you're afraid of the withdrawal symptoms. And folks, I will tell you, when I hit rock bottom, June 22nd, 2013, it was tough. The first week, because no matter what I thought about, all that was on my mind was to continuously drink. But I knew on June 22nd, 2013, that I couldn't control my life anymore. I couldn't control my addiction anymore, and I couldn't control what was going inside me anymore unless I realized I had a problem. That's the only way you can conquer this. You have to, today, October 4th, admit that you have a problem. That's the only way you're going to face this. And then you have to also seek higher power. You can have God without addiction, but you can't fight addiction without God. That's plain and simple. Folks, this was a lot of information. I cut this down. This is 4 pages. I cut this down from 7. Otherwise, first of all, I couldn't even tape it onto my laptop to even read, but it would take an astronomical amount of time. It is never ending, the addiction. There is only one ending to addiction, and that's to learn to live with it. And that isn't even the ending of addiction. It's just the living part of it. It's the living with it. It's how to live every day without having to worry about blackouts, overdose, committing crimes, stealing, losing your job. That is how you learn to live with it. On clearviews.info, which is my first webpage that I invented, that teaches you everything you need to know. There are doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists that are putting information through me on my website for you to learn to live with your addiction, for you to live every day battling. And my videos that I do here every single day are for you to view, to see that there is a life out there other than drugs and alcohol. I don't do these videos to look at myself. I do these videos to help me, because when I help me, I help you, and vice versa. We help each other. We are a community, and our lessons will empower addiction recovery. Clear views, clear reform. We're going to recap real quick. Then we're going to talk about the chapters in your book of life. What is an addiction? We already know what an addiction is, but I'll give you the difference. People with an addiction do not have control of what they're doing, taking, or using. They don't have control. What's the difference between addiction and habit? An addiction is a psychological, physical component. The person is unable to control the aspects of addiction without help because of the mental, physical conditions involved. A habit is done by choice. The person with the habit can choose to stop and will subsequently stop successfully if they wanted to. A habit can be stopped at will. An addiction needs some sort of intervention with help. Put simply, with a habit you can control your choices. With an addiction you have no control of your choices. until you choose to get help. An addiction may include prescription drugs. A lot of people think that when you hear addiction that it's only for street drugs. It can include Mr. Medicine Cabinet in your bathroom and their drugs. Painkillers are in there. Other forms of medication, hairspray, rubbing alcohol. Those are addictive things for people that have an addiction or addictive personality. What are the signs of addiction? The person takes substance and cannot stop. Withdrawal symptoms. I'm having a problem pronouncing that word today. Addiction continues despite health problems and awareness. Social and recreational sacrifices. Maintaining a good supply no matter what, they have to have their fix. Taking risks. Dealing with problems. Obsession. Secrecy and solitude. Closet drinking. Denial, biggest one. Denial, as long as you keep going with denial, you'll never ever be able to live with an addiction. Excess consumption, dropping hobbies and activities, having stashes, taking initial large dose, having problems with the law, financial difficulties, job difficulties, relationship difficulties. What are the risks for addiction? Well, if your parents were alcoholics, chances are that that's where it's in your system. And the same goes with drugs. You have peer pressure, family behavior, role model, very important. Loneliness causes a lot of it. Nature of substance. Age when substance was first consumed. Usually the people that were younger, especially alcoholics, like myself, that tried, those are the ones that became alcoholics full-fledged. So in conjunction with family history and you experimenting young, this is where you ended up. This is where I ended up. How the body deals with addiction and the tolerance increases. It all started with me 4 or 5 shots a day, increased at the end of my addiction life, 10 to 15 shots. In the beginning, June 23rd, 2013, of my new life with 0. Just like that, 0. Since then, 0. Why? Because I stopped denying I had a problem and I reached for my higher power. That's why. And continuously educating myself daily, continuously educating you with my videos and my websites and my coaching. What are the causes of addiction? Doctors say the link in between repeated and addictive substances is how the human brain experiences pleasure. Our brain has what I choose to call 2 sides. You have the cortex, which is the God-given brain, and you have the booze brain, or I choose to call the devil's side. That side will, no matter what, try to convince you that that's right, you cannot live without drugs and alcohol, but you can. Why don't you start today, October 4th, 2014, rewriting new chapters in your book of life? Besides being that good role model that we spoke about, you have to start writing chapters in your children's book of life. Each chapter is for 1 year of life. So from 0 to 18, you have to help your children write 18 chapters in a book of life. And those 18 chapters should never include those 4 things: smoking, drinking, profanity, and physical abuse, but should definitely include love, respect, compassion, and passion itself. Those 4 things have to be there, and those 4 things need to be eliminated in the first 18 chapters of your children's book of life. My book of life started in 1961 when I was born, and it ends whenever I decease. Same goes with you. Whenever you were born is your first chapter in your book of life, and whenever God decides it's your last day on earth is when your end is. It is what's in between the first and the last is most important, but mostly towards the end is the most important. So my reasoning for telling you this is it's never too late to start writing new chapters in your book. Why not start today? I started mine June 22nd, 2013. Most chapters before then were less than desirable. Not that I was a bad human, but alcoholism made me do things, say things, that I wouldn't have done. Remember what they said, that people with an addiction do not have control over what they are doing, saying, taking, or using. Proven fact. Mayo Clinic is telling you people with an addiction do not have control of what they are doing, saying, taking, or using. Their addiction comes to a point to be so harmful. So for anyone that's out there that thinks for 1 minute that when your loved one, when they're in their high or drunken stages, is saying things that they're purposely trying to hurt you, they are not. It is the addiction doing it, and this is a proven fact by the Mayo Clinic. In addiction, people with an addiction do not control what they are doing, saying, taking, or using. And the only way they can control that is by seeking help. Just like a handicapped person, they can't control mentally challenged or physically. They can't control fixing themselves. It is doctors that help them. It's medication that helps them. The same goes with alcoholism or drug addiction, folks. So you need to work on your book of life, and it's never, ever too late to change. New chapters to be written for the future. You can't change the past. Just like Dr. Luis Gonzalez and I, we can't and will never talk about the past. We will concentrate on today, 24 hours today, and work with you through your addiction. That's what we do. And then we'll talk about tomorrow, but we'll never bring up your past. Now, you may bring up your past, but we won't encourage that. So, write your book of life starting today with new chapters. Include chapters like, I saw Ralph's video, and now I think I am ready to stop drinking and doing drugs. That should be a chapter in your book today. Include, I reached out for my higher power. And you might find that even though you think that you hit rock bottom, you're changing, that you might have a relapse in a week from now or two. It's okay. It has happened to me, and it will happen possibly to you. That is when you dust your knees, pick yourself up, think about how it might have happened, what caused it, what stressor, and move forward. But never go back to using your old method or go back to your old abuse again. Never do that. But you need to reach out to your higher power. And remember, even if you relapsed a week later, you gained a week of sobriety. That's an accomplishment, and I applaud you for that. Because millions of people out there not even trying. So if you tried and you relapsed, you tried and you are going to get up and you're going to move forward, and you're not going to let addiction beat you. You will try again. If you relapse, try it again. If you relapse, try it. You get what I'm saying here. Never ever give up on yourself or on others. If you are ready to stop today, start going to AA. They have the 12-step program. One of their steps absolutely tells you to seek your higher power, and that's what I'm telling you have to do. You cannot fight addiction without having God in your life. You can have God in your life without addiction. That's not a problem. But you cannot fight addiction without God. And if you think you can, go ahead and try it. And when you are not successful, come back to me. Because I'm telling you right now from experience, for myself, and from thousands of articles I've read from other people, you cannot battle addiction without your higher power. You can't. So go to AA and try that. And if you don't like AA, I went 4 or 5 meetings. I needed to be more actively involved. And anyone that knows my method can tell you that I am more than actively involved. I do these videos daily. And when I do have downtime on Thursdays and Sundays, which is Throwback Thursday and Sundays inspirational days, I still create videos. I might not physically be on them, but I create them for you to see. Or I give you the Throwback Thursday from the past. But there's not one day out of my 7 days a week that I do not concentrate on my alcohol addiction by educating myself. Even tomorrow, Sunday, although I'm putting up a spiritual video, I'm still out there walking the beat. I am going back to my stomping ground of my alcoholic days, Mastic Beach, New York, tomorrow. And I'm going to talk to real people with real stories and bring them to you. Unedited, uncut. So if you hear people using the F word, I don't condone it, but those are real people with real stories. They're people like you, possibly. So folks, you can try my methods, you can try AA, there are millions of other methods. I did a video, matter of fact I'll put it on, how to go through life with an addiction without going to AA, how to live with an addiction, how to battle addiction without going to AA. You can go into a treatment center, they have the 30, 60, 90 days. Try that. But no matter if you go to AA, if you use my methods or any other methods, or you come out of the clinic, never ever think that you're healed. Ever. There is no magical potion for that. When you go to AA, and you use my methods, or you use the treatment center, you still have at least the majority of the day that you need to concentrate on educating yourself. There should not be one day that you miss thinking about what used to be you. Because if you think about what used to be you and what your future holds before you, you will never forget where you were. And you will never forget that you need to daily, and I mean daily, battle addiction. The minute you put your guard down, that is when the booze brain side of you might come and pull you right back into your addiction. Don't let that happen. Concentrate every single day. Come up with your own methods. Utilize my methods. Make videos. Share them with people. Go out in the streets, interview people. I had a lady that told me a couple weeks ago that if they, meaning Neighborhood Road, Mastic Beach, just had a person like me once a week handing out, which I was doing, is handing out literature and business cards with my phone number. If I or anyone else was able to do that in their own community, that would allow people that are in need, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or any other need, have a phone number to call in time of need. Too many people are out there that have no one to turn to. They might have lost their families due to their drug problem, and nobody wants to speak to them. Show compassion to these people. You are not above any single person in life. You should be out helping people. Whether it's as simple as helping your neighbor with a loaf of bread, as simple as helping an older person with cutting their grass. Karma, what comes around goes around. You need to share with other people. Folks, I've used the analogy, maybe some people are tired of hearing, but I'm going to use it again for the first time listeners and viewers. We all came to this earth with nothing, and we will leave with nothing. So if you're under the assumption that all this great stuff that you own is going to come with you one day, it's not. When your coffin is in a hearse, going down to your final resting place, don't think for 1 minute there'll be a U-Haul truck with your personal possessions behind there. It won't be. So while you're living, if you share with people, you get to enjoy the fact that you're watching people enjoying things that you would have left behind no matter what, because it can't go with you. That way they don't have to fight for it at the end of time for you. There will never ever be a hearse a U-Haul behind your hearse. Folks, we all go to bed at night, we all wear sneakers, shoes, and slippers. Usually, right before we climb into our bed, we take them off and we put them by the edge of our bed. I'm going to ask each and every one tonight to push your sneakers, shoes, or slippers under your bed. That way, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you have to go on your knees to go get them, because now you have to go and pull them from under the bed. While you're on your knees, why don't you just thank the Lord that He is allowing you another day to be on this beautiful earth? Because somewhere in the world, someone that morning is not waking up. For every breath you take, there's another person that's not taking a breath anymore. For For every blink on your eyes, there's a person that's closing their eyes permanently. You should be thanking God each and every day for another day on earth. And you should show your family that you appreciate, because I'm telling you folks, one day, all of us will not be here anymore. So why not start today, treat today as this was your last day on earth. If today was your last day on earth, how would it be any different than if you knew you had 10 years from now? I'll tell you how, because if you knew today was your last day, you would do whatever it would take to be the best person you are, possibly to make amends with other people, possibly to show the massive amount of love to your loved ones. Well, that should be done each and every day. So pretend every day is your last day on earth, because one day it will be. One day it will be, folks. Reach to your higher power and thank the Lord that you're alive. Be a good role model. Eliminate these 4 things: smoking, drinking, physical abuse, and profanity. Add these 4 things: love, respect, compassion, and passion into your home. Show your children that you can help them with their chapters in their book of life between 0 and 18. You should be helping them write 18 chapters in their book of life, so when they start writing chapter 19 on their own in society, they will have a shield around them, because you molded them to be good humans. And if for some reason you decide you want to smoke, drink, use profanity, and physical abuse in your home, first of all, shame on you in front of your children. But second of all, your children will adapt right into society, because that's what society is all about. They will blend right in. And when you see them, and it's not if, it's when you see them on either Jerry Springer, Maury, at a function with families, and they blame you for their environment at home, don't be surprised. Because you did not show good role leadership in your home. But if you did those 4 things, if you eliminated those 4 things, you eliminated the smoking, the drinking, the profanity, and physical abuse, when they do have a problem in life, you know you have done your best to make it 100% for them. You tried to mold them into a good human. You can only try and try to do the best you can, but when you don't try, and you purposely smoke, and you purposely drink, and physical abuse, and use profanity, shame on you. And I feel bad for those children then, because it all starts in your home. Folks, if you let the sunshine into your heart and into your home, you will get nothing, and I promise you, nothing but positive results. Eliminate the darkness. Darkness equals negativity. Negative people in your life need to be away from you. And when I say away, I'm not saying to dispose of them. I'm saying try to avoid the negative people or negative aura that they give out. Concentrate on everything to be positive. With every down sign in life, or any negative thing in life, there is a positive if you choose to make it. If you have an addiction, make today a new chapter in the rest in your book of life. If you know people that have addictions, try to help them. If you have an older neighbor that needs help, help them. Put your slippers under your bed tonight. Thank God tomorrow morning that He's allowing you to be alive. Because always remember, there's somebody that's not going to wake up. There's somebody who's not going to open and close their eyes because they closed their eyes for the last time. And remember to start sharing your personal belongings with people. You won't take it with you. The only thing that goes with you is your body and your soul. Work on the soul. Your body only has a certain time limit, but your soul is a permanent issue. Your soul will either go to heaven or hell. Your body is just I choose to call it a vessel to get you through chapter 1 through whenever the last chapter, 60, 70, 80, 90, who knows. But your soul needs to be nourished daily with good role leadership, with good examples, with being kind, with being loved, with showing love, with having a personal relationship with God. That way, when your soul leaves your body one day, it will go to the proper place. It will. Today, let the sunshine into your heart and into your home. Reap those positive results that that sunshine will give you. And remember, a sober today, I guarantee you, will give you a better tomorrow. Because if you believe everything that I'm telling you here, it will become clear out there. I use the word clear, community lessons, empower, addiction recovery. That's why I use that word clear. Clearviews.info, clearreform.com. Let myself at 844-405-HELP help you with your addiction. You can email me at clearreform@yahoo, CLEARREFORM @yahoo.com. You can text me at 631-599-0218. Reach out to Dr. Luis Gonzalez at 844-414-8444. He has two sides of his business. He can help you fight your addiction, or he can make you into an addiction coach. Reach out to Pam Hemphill, HEMPHILL. She's on Facebook, Time to Heal. They focus on recovery. She's on YouTube. It's Time to Heal TV talk show through YouTube. I must be thinking chocolate milk, or you can find her on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook. I have clearviews.info. I have Clear Reform. Those are pages. We have an open group with about 230 members now. That's Clear Reform. You can find me on Twitter, Dig, Dogpile, Google, Yahoo, many more. I can't even mention all of them. There's so many. You can find me out there. I'm here. Dr. Luis Gonzalez is here. Pam is here. And millions of other people are here to help you. It is up to you to help yourself by seeking help. It is up to you to stop denying you have a fact. And it is up to you to have a personal relationship with your God. It is up to me to continuously help through my videos, through my websites, through other people's experiences, to mention them to you. It is up to me to continuously help you, because when I help you, I help me. And with that, I'm going to tell you right now, if you have a sober today, you will definitely have a better tomorrow. And please have a sober weekend, and God bless you. See you next time. Good morning and welcome to Take Your Life Back. Today is September 4th. It's about 3:30 in the morning. I just want to share with everyone something this morning. I saw a demonstration maybe about a month ago in reference to our dark side and the power of prayer. If you continuously pray over and over and over again, things will eventually become clear. Although a lot of times when we pray to God, we don't get answers right away. But if you continuously pray over and over, things become clear. So the demonstration involves this bottle, and if you see, the inside of this bottle is all dark liquid. That represents our dark side. And this cap represents our limitations. So we as a human, which is the bottle, have limitations, which is this cap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bottle into the sink, and we're going to do a demonstration. So let me put that there. I'm going to turn the camera around so that everybody can see it. And hopefully you folks can all see it now. Okay, so you see the bottle. I'm going to turn the water on. Okay, so now everything inside is dark, which represents our body and our inside. And what I'm going to do, and this clear water represents our prayer. So you see the continuous water running. I'm going to now, as the prayer, as we're praying, I'm going to lift our limitations, which is the cap. And we're going to slowly add our prayer to this. We all go through dark times. I mean, I've had some dark years. I just didn't understand everything that was happening. I'm going to admit it that I'm not a super patient person. I tend to want answers right away and know what's happening and what I can do to solve it. I don't like not being happy and confident about things. It's just not who I am. But when I get down, it takes a lot for me to get back up. If we pray for a sign, which is this, the water is prayer, but just give up because we feel like God's already heard our prayer and He knows what we need, but He hasn't answered. It's kind of like when we were kids in the toy store and we kept asking our mom and dad for toys, but we never got any results. Yeah, it never worked for me either, but you get what I mean. Anyway, that is exactly what's happened to me in the past years. I have prayed and prayed and prayed, but haven't really gotten any results. The answer I thought God would give me, and especially in the time of frame, I thought my problems would be fixed, which was all before 2013. Then in 2013, my cap of limitations was lifted. This is the cap, remember this now, was lifted off the bottle, which is my body. Here is where I will just show you how that worked for me. So basically we all have dark sides, which is what's in the bottle, was in the bottle. We are facing, and we take the limitations off our mind, which was the cap I lifted. Don't limit what He can do, because we have to just trust in the Lord. That sometimes even after we pray and we just give up, and it is often why we get defeated. However, even though nothing has really changed, we just keep praying. That's the prayer, the sign of the prayer, the flowing Lord. Just keep praying and never ever give up praying. And if we do that and devote ourselves completely to the Lord, He will pull us through. The dark times will go away, and we just have to be patient. I know it's hard. Being patient truly is a virtue. But by never ever giving up on prayer, it's going to show you that God will eventually answer all your prayer. And the more we pray, which is this water going into the bottle, one day everything will become clear. You see how clear this is now? That is the power of prayer. Folks, I think that demonstration says it all. If we had a bottle which represents our body, and the bottle, everything was dark on the inside, and the water coming out of the faucet represents the prayer, day after day after day, just keeps adding to the darkness which was in the bottle. Eventually all that prayer has to turn what was dark inside this bottle, which is our body, has to change and become as clear as this water in here. That, folks, is the power of prayer.
Created using Powtoon.